Hello every pony and welcome to Brony FanFics. Today, hopefully gonna finish the chapter 21 of Crisis Equestria. When we left off with part 2, Fluttershy was about to do something awesome, I don't know. So, let's continue. Fluttershy separated herself and took a deep breath. Lesson 17. If some pony makes you upset, show them that you are a threat. Come on, Ephraim! We were off to take down a dragon. The swirling light flashed around Fluttershy and then charged at Insipid from below, in the form of a hawk. He looped around towards Insipid's back before transforming again into the form of a lion, landing squarely just near her neck and immediately beginning to bite and tear at the thick scales on her hide. The dragon gave a roar of pain as one of the scales was torn off. Like, ow! Insipid winced, twisting her long neck around to see what had caused her pain. What the... that silly thing again! Whatever. It's like, that's gonna help. She spun into a tight roll and flung the lion roughly off her. But he then transformed back into a hawk and looped around her again, landing on her back once more. Hey, not fair. Need lightning ahead, Rainbow called suddenly. Eh? Insipid blinked as she turned her head to the voice. Oh, oopsie? She got a face full of lightning and a hoof as Rainbow charged in with a kick, knocking her off balance and causing her to fumble in the air. In a panic caused by the sharp pain in her head, Insipid lost her focus and changed back into a unicorn. She fell from nearly a mile above the desert below. She looked down and began to frantically flail her legs in a desperate attempt to fly. Uh-oh! She gulped as she tried to concentrate. I forgot I'm afraid of heights. Curie, why did I take your advice? I can't remember how to change back. She closed her eyes and put her hooves over them as she approached the ground, only to find herself suddenly come to a stop. She then dropped calmly to the earth. She turned to see what had happened. Fluttershy looked down at her with a firm gaze, Earthnim's orbiting sphere circling around her happily. Oh, whew, thanks, Bumbershoot, Insipid sighed, wiping her brow. I was almost like an insipid pancake, and that would be totally not cool and junk. Major Grody. Fluttershy, the Pegasus huffed. Say it right! Insipid rolled her eyes. Okay, what? Now I'm only going to say this once, Fluttershy interrupted, looking Insipid in the eye. Stay away from my friends, or else. I might have to use a lesson 24. When somebody tries to hurt, you bury them in the dirt. Insipid gulped. Okay. Pinky ducked underneath another wide sweep of a blade, and slid along the ground to sweep Velvet's legs. The other Earth Pony leapt to avoid the attack and jettisoned a barrage of bloody projectiles towards the ground in an attempt to catch Pinky off guard. Pinky panicked and tried to roll away, but was unable to gain enough distance and caught several of the missiles into the midsection, knocking her backwards several feet in a heap. As Velvet attempted to swing a long tendril around to catch Pinky again, the helmeted pony touched the ground with her hoof and bounded into a defensive stance instantly, giving ample time to block the incoming strike completely. Velvet sneered as she drew the blade back. Ugh, I suck at reading. I can't decide if all of this is a blessing or a curse. On one hoof, I get to enjoy tearing you apart without worry of accidentally killing you. I get to really vent out all of my frustration, all my anger, all of everything against you without a care in the world. But at the same time, you're not making it easy on me. On the other hoof, I'll admit this is more fun than I thought it would ever be. Pinky snickered as she idly flexed her muscles that normally weren't there. I expected you to be a total pushover, Red. You're making me work to keep my top-tier spot, you know. Suddenly, there came a great rumbling noise from beneath them, and a tremor shook the earth with frantic fury, enough that both Earth Ponies lost their balance. What the hell is it now? What trick are you up to this time? Hey, this isn't me, Pinky blurted. The ground in the centre of the arena erupted in a shower of dirt and rock, and from out of the great spew of debris flew a grey Pegasus, followed closely behind by an orange earth pony that drew the exploding earth to her like a magnet. Applejack managed to just barely miss grabbing onto Grayskull's rear hooves and tumble through the air again, coming to a landing a few feet away from Pinkie Pie. Applejack? Applejack! Pinkie sputtered. Whoa, what are you doing here? Huh? Pinkie? The hell happened to your clothes? Applejack blinked as she shook her head. How did we end up here? Hey if I know, Pinkie shrugged. But oh man, this is actually pretty awesome. Hang on a sec. Why are you all... Applejack started. A new challenger has appeared. What in the hell was... Pinkie hurriedly detailed the scenario. Long story, no time to explain. You're my tag partner. We're gonna kick their butts. Figures you couldn't handle me by yourself. Oh, figures you couldn't handle me by yourself and had to ask for help. Velvet sneered. Of all the rotten... Oh, relax, Red. It's not a 2-on-1. That's for, like, boss fights. And I'll be honest, you hardly qualify as a boss, Red. Pinkie said, waving her dismissively and rolling her eyes. Look, here comes your partner now. My what? A new challenger has appeared. The hay is making that dang noise, Applejack blurted. Grayskull swept down and landed next to Velvet. Red? Grayskull? Velvet said, narrowing her eyes. Explain. Long story. Looks like you and me against these two. You know, unless you think you can handle them both. You know damn well I can. Hey! Are we going to keep talking and are we going to get this thing started or what? Pinkie yelled, impatiently tapping her hooves. Yeah, to be honest, I think y'all little 2-on-2 sounds like a lot of fun. Applejack grinned. I don't think old Grayskull is going to be able to predict your tactics, Pinkie. Let's see you try and pull that crazy stuff on you. Fine. Well, fine. Whatever, Gray. Velvet sneered. Let's just get it over with. Okay, about time. Pinkie grinned, readying herself for a battle. You ready, AJ? More than anything. Applejack nodded. I don't know why, but ever since I got mixed up with all this here business with you, I feel like I've done all my energy restored. It's great. Team battle. Round 1. Ready? Fight. Twilight grit her teeth and prepared the teleportation spell, only to have her concentration broken yet again by a fierce rumble from beneath her. A massive rock spire exploded upwards several feet, spewing more rock in every direction. Twilight teleported anyway as she was left with little time to react. She only managed a short distance walk to avoid the attack. The ground shook again and she was forced to leap aside to avoid being struck from below, unable to get off a spell in time at all. Stop it! I thought you said you weren't trying to kill any pony, Twilight snapped. If you keep doing this, TikTok will... That's not entirely accurate. What I said was, I'm not trying to kill you, Starlight said with a smug grin. Your Chronomancer friend does not share the benefit of the same allowance, and thus is a fair game for my comrades and I. But seeing as I'm the leader, it is my privilege in more ways than one, to see to it that infuriating whelp gets what is coming to her. Twilight swore under her breath and hastily charged another attempt at a teleport, only to once again be forced to release it early to avoid another rock bursting up from beneath her. It was distressing. The whole region seemed to be working against her, but then she realized something. She looked at Starlight, whose hull maintained a permanent silver glow. This whole shifting rock field is all you? Twilight stammered. That's impossible, even for a pony of your power. Extremely difficult, but not impossible, I can assure you. After all, I'm doing it right now, am I not? Certainly not a simple spell, mind. Starlight nodded, the same smug grin all over her face. Attempting to adjust the vast stretch of desert so that it would lead you all into a wide open area, and then splitting you all up took a great deal more effort than I typically enjoy exerting. But here we are. I must commend Grayskull Force and Curacao for their excellent tactical advisory. Divide and conquer, so simple I didn't even think of it. But despite the difficulty of it all, it is much easier than I had anticipated in the long run. And dealing with you all in such private circumstances is so much more pleasant, wouldn't you agree? Twilight stood firm and channeled her own magic, her horn glowing a brilliant purple of its own until it matched Starlight Sora. The other unicorn blinked in surprise, then gave a cocky laugh. Oh, that's it then, Starlight cooed. It's apparent you have begun to reach into that potential of yours. Bravo, Sparkle. A pity you are still nowhere near my level, but follow steps, I suppose. I wonder though, what are you planning to do with this incredible strength? Assault me? Teleport again to your falling friend? She's running out of time, you know. Tick-tock, Sparkle, she added with a coy grin. Actually, I've got something better in mind, Twilight said defiantly. Twilight exploded in a flash of light, forcing Starlight to shield her eyes for only a brief moment. When she looked again after the light had died down, Twilight Sparkle was standing there, as firm as ever, with not a single apparent change. Then again, so was Twilight Sparkle. Twilight Sparkle. Oh, so was Twilight Sparkle, Twilight Sparkle, yes, even Twilight Sparkle. 5 of them, staring her down, each with a look of fierce determination on their face, and each of their horns glowing a bright purple. Multiplicity, Starlight cursed as the twilight surrounded her. Clever, but not enough. She flared her horn, making it glow significantly brighter and bathing the surrounding area in the silver light. She focused her magic, summoning forth more rock spires to explode from beneath all 5 twilights at once. Each of them effortlessly teleported away to safety. And to Starlight's surprise, all 5 of them began to teleport rapidly for short distances in a circle around her. Starlight glowered and began to twirl around to follow them as best as she could, calling forth more rocks to assault them with. But each twilight was avoiding the rocks as quickly as she could make them appear, and somehow were expertly predicting her every attack. What's the matter, Starlight? One of the twilights called. Are we going too fast for you? Can't keep up, another taunted. Now I know what Rainbow Dash feels like. Speaking of Rainbow, and what should we do? You look pretty stupid twirling around in a circle like that, a third laughed. I think there's a song that Pinky sang once that would be appropriate here. Oh yeah, I remember it now, the 4 snickered. Ahem. You spin me round. It's spin me round right, baby. Okay, I'm not singing it. God damn it. Shut up! Starlight screamed as she followed after the one that had most recently insulted her, throwing another burst of rock beneath her that again missed by mere inches. To make matters worse, now the twilights began to fire searing bolts of magic at her. The first struck home on the back of Starlight's head, causing her to wince in pain. It wasn't a strong bolt, but enough to distract her momentarily. Enough that the other bolt was able to strike her in the side when she wasn't looking. Starlight growled and raised rocks around her to use as a barrier, since without seeing where the spells were coming from exactly at all times made it hard to adjust to true barrier's focal strength. Soon enough, the twilights weren't content with blasting at her rock shield, and teleported briefly skyward to fire bolts at the exposed top section. Starlight screamed in anger as one slipped through and burst again on her forehead. In a rage overloaded her spell, causing rocks to explode from all around her. The twilights were caught off guard and were unable to escape, getting knocked aside and neatly piled into a corner. Starlight calmed herself and walked over to the recovering unicorns of the Confident Gate, hovering a large boulder along with her. Ha ha! A clever attempt, Sparkle, but very unorthodox. Too many copies, though. And your attacks are weak and too much to accomplish anything. You might have had a chance if you'd been more conservative with your efforts. Now then, let's see if I can't discern which of you is the real Twilight. Sparkle. She blinked and looked over the copies in a panic. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. No! Where's the... A pop and flash of light from behind her drew her attention to where Twilight had just warped in, setting down a heavily panting Tick-Tock. The other 4 copies of Twilight all vanished in sparkles and dust. Oh, thank the stars, Tick-Tock blurted, taking deep breaths and holding her hoof to her head. Thank you, Twilight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Starlight glared at them, a distraction. Twilight grinned with the same smugness Starlight had shown earlier. I've learned that you're easily distracted by things that make you mad, Starlight. Tick-Tock chuckled. Yeah, maybe you should take some anger management courses. Starlight seethed, as rage and hate filled her again. Her magic began to flow wildly. She screamed and fired a massive barrage of magic at the 2 unicorns, completely ignorant of what she was doing and what she was risking. Twilight panicked and threw up a barrier to protect herself and TikTok. The first missile struck the shield. A pained roar from above drew Kurosawa and Rarity's attention, and they watched as Insipid's dragon form writhed in the air and vanished, replaced by a pony again that immediately began to fall. Kurosawa began to speak very rapidly, rising panic apparent in her voice. No, Insipid! Qu'est-ce qui est passe? Ah, mes petits chéris, imbéciles! Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait? Ha! Well done, girls! I just knew Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash could handle it on their own. Rarity cheered before looking towards Kurosawa with a coy grin. See now how your... Rarity was cut off as Kurosawa leapt upon her with ferocity she hadn't seen before, slamming her roughly against the rock wall and pressing her hoof at the unicorn's throat. Ferme ta gueule afin que je ne la ferme à ta place. Espère ta cartine, she said, so rapidly that she had to pause for breath, realizing from incomprehension showing through Rarity's terror that the unicorn hadn't understood. Kurosawa growled, If anything happens to her, I will... You'll... what? Rarity choked back, a sudden smugness in her expression despite the circumstances. You know your Capitan wouldn't be very happy if you went a little too far. You would be surprised what I could... You would be surprised what... God damn it. You would be surprised what I could convince her at that point, Kurosawa said, fuming. I wouldn't worry about your friend, Rarity laughed dryly. Fluttershy wouldn't let anything happen to her, no matter how annoying or dangerous she may be. Unlike you and your bunch. We have a little tact. Kurosawa glared, but had her attention drawn away again as a massive explosion somewhere off to the south. What was that? Understood. Is it Capitan? Rarity pushed Kurosawa off of her and pinned the earth pony beneath her, a horn aglow and grabbing several rocks from nearby as she moved. The earth pony seemed utterly unconcerned by the sudden change of situation. Kurosawa's fury melted away abruptly, replaced with indistinct concern as she continued to look off to the south, where even from here they both could see the large cloud left by what had been an extremely powerful blast. Her face contorted with worry as she watched the cloud die out, and turned back to face Rarity again. Well then, if we're all done watching the fireworks, you're mine now, Miss Kurosawa. Rarity grinned. So let's get one thing straight. You lose. Go on then, submit. I don't want to hurt. Je suis désolé. Kurosawa frowned. I have to go now. Something has come up. I enjoyed our little chat, Rarity. Au revoir. Oh no, you... Rarity started. Kurosawa suddenly vanished in a flash of unicorn teleportation magic, causing Rarity to stumble forward as her hooves fell through now open air. Don't? Ugh! Starlight mumbled as she shook her head to get rid of cobwebs. What happened? She opened her eyes and saw the little arena she had been rendered. Once again, a completely flat wasteland save for the ground beneath her hooves. That had been reduced to a wide circular formation of glass spreading outward for several yards all around. Standing in the centre of the glass field, encased in a brightly gleaming force field, was Twilight Sparkle. Her eyes closed in deep, pained focus. TikTok, to her side, was the first of the two to open her eyes. Starlight struggled to her hooves with difficulty as TikTok prodded Twilight to get her to drop the barrier. Twilight nearly collapsed at the gesture. Twilight, are you alright? TikTok blurted. Ah, my aching head. Twilight winced before she passed out. Twilight? TikTok panicked. Come on, get up! You. What did you do? Starlight breathed. It's impossible that you contain that much power. TikTok took a defensive step forward, causing Starlight to stop a moment and laugh. Oh, this is splendid. I am going to great pleasure in atomizing you, Chronomancer. And this time, you're at a lack of wonderful little toys to stop me with. Goodbye. Starlight attempted to channel her magic, only to howl in pain at the attempt. She painfully stumbled forward and landed on her backside. Well. Looks like some ponies run out of juice. TikTok snorted as she stepped forward. What was that you were saying about atomizing? Yeah, good luck with that. No, that's not possible! Starlight panicked. How? How? She tried to channel her spell again, only to cry out in pain once more. Damn it! What did she do? Twilight made mention of how the magics of Arcane and Void work together. Seems she wasn't exaggerating, TikTok smiled. I wasn't expecting this, though. Talk about hostile reactions. What are you blathering on about? Arcane, Void? Makes sense, damn it! Starlight snarled. What does it matter anyway? You're through. TikTok glared, flaring her horn. Starlight, in a moment of weakness, scrambled backwards away, her eyes filled with fear and pain and a lack of understanding. TikTok, stop. TikTok turned to Twilight, who'd come to and was struggling to her hood as well. Twilight, this maniac has tried to kill me. Twice. 3 times if you count the atomizing comment. But that wasn't much of an attempt now, was it? Okay, yes. I'll admit I provoked the first attempt directly, but that's besides the point. I figure it's only fair I give her the same sort of treatment. TikTok said firmly. I'll show you what happens to monsters out there. You wouldn't dare, Starlight said nervously, backing off a little more and running her hooves through the dirt. Wouldn't I? TikTok spat. If you did, then you'd just be the same kind of violent monster you make her out to be. Twilight said firmly. I know you can be kind of a jerk sometimes, but I know you don't have it in you. You underestimate me, Twilight. TikTok frowned. I've killed monsters before. That was one more in the pile. Twilight's stern gaze made TikTok falter slightly. She gave an aggravated sigh and spoke as low as she could. Damn it, Twilight. Can't you see I'm trying to scare her into giving up this whole business? Twilight set her head back down as her eyes rolled back, falling into unconsciousness once more. Twilight! Oh, bugger. TikTok groaned. She turned back to Starlight and glared. Well then, where are we? Oh yes, I was about to... The other unicorn closed her eyes, her mind raced. Sisters! To me! Help! Starlight glowed a brilliant purple for a moment, her horn flaring silver and firing off erratic pink sparks that sizzled and burned around her that caused TikTok to back away from the intense magical energy being expelled. She cried out in intense pain, her eyes watering despite their pristine white shine. Seconds passed. Starlight ceased glowing as around her, and new figures slowly began to fade into existence, one at a time. The effect was not nearly as instantaneous as typical unicorn teleportation, giving TikTok plenty of time to react and ready herself for whatever was coming next. Havocwing was first to appear, still unconscious, her body slacked without rubble and debris to support it. Gruskow Force came soon after, apparently having been in mid-flight when she had been warped in. She looked around in confusion as to where she was, then shrugged and stretched her wings, flickering off the dirt that was still stuck on her. Pardon me. She turned to her side and saw Havocwing lying there and went to move to her, before Starlight Shadow caught her attention and gave her superior due priority, kneeling beside her young sister, fraught with concern. Red Velvet followed, her body poised in the middle of a leaping action. Then the sudden teleport caused her to hastily lash out at the nearest thing in range, which happened to be Grayscale. The Pegasus barely flinched as Velvet's blade halted mere inches from her face. Velvet began hastily checking her surroundings, her eyes red with anger, pupils tiny and black. She was trembling, her breathing stiff and rapid, and her body covered in bruises and cuts that she hadn't bothered to heal herself. Insipid was next to appear, shuddering and looking around in a panic as if terrified of something that had just happened. She instantly latched onto Curacao, who was last. The Earthbrony had been on her back and now lay there with an extremely overeager Insipid pinning her to the ground rather than an angered rarity. Oh, Curie! Curie! Insipid cried, sobbing into the Earthbrony's mane. Oh, it was so totally terrible. There was like all this lightning and fire and big explosions, and next thing I remember I was falling and... Shh, ma chérie, Curacao said soothingly, stroking the unicorn's mane. It's okay now. I am here for you. D'accord? Are you alright? Insipid sniffed. Yeah, I'm totally fine now, Curie. Like, thanks. Curacao sighed and helped Insipid get upright before noticing Starlight's shadow laying nearby, slowly losing consciousness. "Ma capitaine!" she shouted as she quickly moved to her. Starlight passed out and Curacao knelt beside her, trying to desperately shake her awake. "Capitaine! Ma soeur! Réveillez-vous!" She snapped her head round to look behind her, glaring in TikTok's direction with an intense and furious anger. TikTok gulped as the others all looked in her direction, and took several steps backwards to be near the unconscious Twilight Sparkle again, flaring her horn as brightly as she could and sending up a great light into the sky. Curacao snapped. "You! The corner master! You did this!" She turned to the others. "Messieurs, An explosion to the north drew the attention of them all, and they turned sharply to see what had caused it. Even from this great of a distance, they could all clearly see the massive ship-shaped burst of rainbow-coloured light spreading across the sky, and even slightly clearing up the veil of magic high above. "Rainbow Dash," Granny Skull said simply as she got to her hooves. "She won't take long to get here. We need to act quickly." She turned towards TikTok and shrugged. "The boss won't like me kill-stealing, but I guess it's up to me to finish the job, Chronomancer." "I think not," TikTok said, gritting her teeth and putting up a barrier spell, which shined gold and surrounded herself in twilight. TikTok grinned after the spell finished. "I've gotten used to casting these lately, and with Rarity's power boost still having some mild effect, this should be enough to hold you off." "Cute." Grayskull rolled her eyes. "Velvet and I have more than enough power to—" "Power, yes, but time." TikTok smirked. "I've still got all my energy left, more than enough to last until Rainbow Dash gets here, and she'll be able to hold you off long enough for the others." Grayskull hesitated and glanced north, where she could see the rainbow ring had begun to dissipate, and they could clearly see the lightning crackling around in a single point, and growing closer by the second. "She's right. We don't have much time." "Oh no. Oh no, oh no." Instantly panicked. "Like, hide me. I don't want to take another lightning bolt to the face." "Murder. And the Chronomancer has a point. The others will not be far after here either." Curacao swore, stamping a hoof to the ground. "We are on disadvantage. We must—" "Horseapple we're at a disadvantage," Velvet spat, stepping up to Curacao and prodding the Earth Pony's nose with a hoof. "We can handle whatever they want to throw at us. Just—" "Oh? The four of us, with moi, not being suited for direct combat with the likes of Rainbow Dash? You being injured, and Zippet in a state of panic? We are just fine," Curacao said, rolling her eyes. "Just two of us should be enough to handle her," Velvet sneered. "What kind of coward crap are you trying to pull?" "She won't be trying to beat us. She'll be stalling until her friends get here." "Oh, she won't be trying to beat us. She'll be stalling until her friends get here. I'm with Curacao." Grayskull nodded. "We need to regroup and recover. We got thrown into a fight we were not prepared for. We need to rethink our plans." "And we are wasting time discussing it," Curacao said firmly. She turned to Insipid. "Insipid, ma chérie, we need an invasion, quickly." And Insipid pointed at herself in confusion. "What? Me? Like, what am I supposed to do?" "The Capitan has the powers to teleport a great distance, not? Take some of our power and get us out of this situation." Insipid's eyes widened in fear. "Like, take the boss's powers? No way! She'll kill me." "Do it!" Curacao said quickly. "We do not have the time to argue." Insipid gulped and nodded, then laid her hoof on Starlight's head, glowing a deep purple as she did so. Okay, so now what? How do I teleport in junk?" "Just focus on some place as hard as you can, and we'll be there," Grayskull said simply. That's how the boss described it. "Try some place nearby, a few miles east, say. Flat desert out there." Okay, here goes." Insipid nodded. She focused her magic and mind, getting herself and her comrades to safety, her horn shining a brilliant silver. In a flash of gold and white, the six of them were gone, leaving a mild scorch mark in the sand beneath them. Rainbow came screeching into her hold just seconds afterwards. "Damn," she swore. "Missed him." "Rainbow Dash," TikTok called. "Quickly, help me get Twilight back to the others." "Whoa, Twilight, what happened?" Rainbow blinked. "Long story, lots of magic babble, just help me." TikTok said through grit teeth. A loud popping sound, a brilliant flash of white light, and with it 6 mares appeared suddenly in the middle of nowhere with desert all around them. Insipid was the first to stumble away from the group, her head dizzy with her eyes crossed. Ow, 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 teleporting like hurts. She winced as she rubbed her temples. Why didn't you guys, tell me that part? The Capitan never complained. Curacao blinked. I don't think Insipid has the mental focus for teleportation, Grayskull said simply, but emergencies are emergencies. But that is not important right now. Curacao hurried as she checked on Starlight's unconscious form. Oh no. C'est terrible. What has happened to her? She looks pretty beat up, and looks like she's not the only one either. Grayskull frowned, kneeling over Havocwing. Havocwing got hit pretty bad too. She's bleeding. Nothing serious, but she's out cold. Havoc? Bleeding? Velvet grinned. Here, let me... Grayskull stared at her with a firm disbelief, making Velvet shrug. Fine, whatever, I'll have a snack later then. Grayskull shook her head. Where did those guys get those powers from? Why didn't they use them last time if they had them? C'est un mystère. Curacao frowned. But what is important is helping the Capitan. Oh, and Havocwing too, I suppose. Grayskull tapped her to her chin. Hey, Insipid! Yeah, Insipid blinked. Over here, we need you. Coming. Insipid stumbled over. Okay, what's the big deal? I'm totally trying to nurse a headache over here and junk. The boss is the master of all kinds of magic, and I wouldn't put it past her to have some kind of healing magic either, Grayskull explained. You still have her power, so you should be able to get the boss back into fine condition. Oh, très bien. Curacao nodded. But Marshali does not know how to make this kind of magic work, n'est-ce pas? She's not exactly in the Capitan's understanding. I have no idea? Insipid shrugged. I mean, I know I've got all sorts of magic now and junk, but I, have no clue what to do. Well, if it works like all unicorn magic, then all you have to do is just think about what you want to do, and it'll happen, Grayskull explained. Yeah, good idea. Ask her to think. Velvet huffed. This idiot couldn't think a way out of a paper bag. Bite me, Red. Insipid glared. I've got the boss's powers now. That means I can, send you to the moon or whatever. Sure. Then we'll, see who the idiot is. Velvet clicked her tongue and sulked several paces away. Curacao frowned. Oh, but what if it does go... But what if she does it wrong? The Capitan may be injured more. I'm not sure about this. Oh, come on, Curie. I can handle this totally fine. I'll just think about making the boss feel better, and blammo. Insipid said confidently. She'll be just great again, right? That's how it works. Maybe you'd better test it on Havocwing first, Grayskull suggested, just in case. Insipid nodded eagerly. Right, okay, so here goes. Insipid set her hoof on Havoc's head and concentrated with all her might, making the Pegasus feel better. The horn began to glow a dim silver that brightened and brightened, until the glow began to flow through her leg to her hoof, where it began to flow to Havocwing, and made her begin to shine white. The blood on her forehead cleared itself away, and the small cut there closed up. Havoc's slightly bent wings straightened, and her feathers realigned, and the tooth she was missing grew back. The glow died out in seconds, with Havocwing appearing good as new. So, did it work? Insipid blinked, tapping a hoof to Havoc's head. Hello, Havoc, you alright? Oh, crap, my face! Havocwing suddenly lurched away. She frantically looked around her and saw that she was in relative safety of her comrades. No sign of Rainbow Dash or any pony else from her group. Havoc got to her hooves warily and shook her head. What the... Where are we? Glad to see it works, Grayskull shrugged. Well done, Insipid. I knew you weren't totally useless. Oh man, my head is killing me. Havoc winced as she rubbed her temples. No, but really, where the buck are we? And why is... She turned and saw Starlight's unconscious form beside her. Whoa, what happened to the boss? Curacao sighed. Something happens during the scuffle with Twilight and the Chronomancer. She's down for the count, Havoc blurted. Ha! That means that as second in command, I'm the new boss. What? Cool? Grayscale and Curacao respectively said in simultaneity. Both their voices so flat as to convey a sense of long-suffering dismay that filled the area with their empty incredulity. So that Havoc actually for a moment decided she'd let it go, then Insipid opened her mouth. Like, since when were you the boss of second in command? Insipid blanched. That's like totally Curie's job. The leader needs to be able to actually, fight, Havoc boasted with a hoof to her chest. Curacao is a total pushover in battle, even if she wanted to participate in any kind of stuff anyway, at least against some pony who is more of a dainty little thing than she is. Any of us could beat her in a single combat, and what kind of leader can't physically defend herself? Like you did with Rainbow Dash? Grayscale pointed out. A fluke. Havoc spat, getting in Grayscale's face and prodding the other unicorn and the other Pegasus in the nose. A bucking fluke is what it was. Nothing more. I wasn't expecting that idiot to suddenly have crazy powers any more than any of you are expecting your opponents to. But of course my target is the one with the most dangerous powers. Lightning and Pegasus don't mesh well, Why'd I get saddled with her anyway? What kind of lame crap is that? As I recall, you requested Rainbow Dash as your opponent, Grayscale said. I remember us all agreeing I'd be the better candidate, but the boss was sick of your complaining. And I just gave it to you, really. You would have been a better opponent for Applejack. I don't remember any of that, Havoc Wing said defiantly, crossing her hooves over her chest. You're just making it up. You want the... what did you call it? Rematch? Curacao pointed. And you guys let me get away with it? See what I mean? None of you would have what it takes to be the boss around here. If you're just going to roll over when somebody tells you what to do. What planet are you from that logic makes sense? Grayscale rolled her eyes. Havoc glared. The point is, I could kick any of your butts in single combat, and by default, that makes me new leader while the boss is down for the... What's all this about new leaders? Havoc turned white as Starlight Shadow stepped up behind her. Hi, boss. I was just, stepping up to take charge while you were incapacitated and all, so we wouldn't go all astray or anything. Right, so, now that you're not out of it and all, yes, that's totally not necessary. Starlight lit her horn up in a matter of seconds. Havoc found herself eye to eye with the unicorn, her throat held by a strong magic. Starlight glared into Havoc Wing's fearful expression. Havoc Wing. Let me be perfectly clear. I am the leader here, and Curacao is my second in command. Got that? Yes, sir, Havoc Wing gulped. She was dropped from Starlight's magic and allowed to back away cautiously. Now, I believe you owe your sister Insipid a bit of gratitude, Starlight said sternly, pointing behind her. Havoc Wing glared over at Insipid, who was still glowing white after having healed Starlight back to prime condition. Insipid beamed and waved gingerly. Thanks, Insipid, Havoc Wing growled through clenched teeth. Yes, thank you, Insipid, Starlight nodded as well. Now, relinquish my powers at once. Your inexperience with that sort of magical energy could be more detrimental than anything. Right, boss, Insipid saluted, glowing a dim purple and then letting her briefly held incredible powers leave her. Oh, and you're welcome, both of you. Boss, you alright? Grayscale asked. What happened out there? I'll be quite alright, Grayscale. No need to worry about me. Starlight shook her head. I'm also curious about what happened out there. Our plan was flawless, as always. Separate all the links and force them to submit. Simple enough. Same plan as our previous engagement, and then we were nearly victorious, if not for the infernal Chronomancer's interference. But now those pesky cretins arrive full of confidence, and despite powers of their own. How is that possible? Perhaps there was something in those ruins, no? Curacao hummed. What did they find in there? Wherever they got them from, the game has changed now, ain't it, boss? Havoc suggested. It would certainly seem so, Starlight nodded glumly. Our strategy is still flawless. we were merely caught off guard. It might be acceptable to see some adjustments. And that's the end of chapter 21. So that was good. The fight remained epic all the way through, and I look forward to seeing what happens in the next chapter, which hopefully I will get the chance to read soonish, hopefully. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Keep on spreading the magic of friendship, and I'll see you next time. Bye!